Nighttime. I gotta make it look like night. Welcome to the doghouse. Hope you're all having a great day. This is gonna be about whatever. Whatever you want to talk about, whatever I want to talk about, what the hell? Let's talk about it. This is not to do with any individual. This is just whoever you want to talk about, or you want to talk about yourself, go right ahead. I'm going to start out with people that hate themselves within. So many people out there really, really do hate themselves. And they do everything in this world to get that hate to everybody else. All of us know people like this. They hate so bad, but they have to get it out. They will destroy themselves to get that hate out. And like I said, all of us probably been around somebody like that over our lives, and we're not going to get away from it. But you have to learn to deal with it. That's the main thing, learning to deal with it. Because hate does bring others down. Hate's there for one thing is to destroy everybody, even the person that hates. But I had to get that out because I've seen some people on here that hate. Now, you don't want to hate. You want to have a positive attitude, but sometimes people do bring you down to hate. You just have to correct it when you see it. I'm on here just because I want to be on here. That's it. I'm not a good looking guy. I never claimed to be. I'm not the smartest person you'll ever run into. Maybe not the dumbest either, but I'm just here because I love life and I love life itself a whole lot. I'm not afraid or ashamed of who I am or what I've done in life. I've never been to jail, never been to prison, never even had a pair of handcuffs put on me. I know people have, but growing up, I grew up where it was certain things were mandatory as parents. And here's the thing about parents. They I was never beaten, okay? But you did listen. Mom used, and I don't know, and I'd say, don't, hello, Road King. I'm not going to say to do this, but when I was growing up, we'd get in trouble. Sometimes my mom would get this nice green willow, or you'd go get it. She never left a mark, and we thought so, but she really never even hurt us. That pop of that willow, how she could do it, scared the hell out of you. I wouldn't recommend that, but that worked for us. And she raised 10 kids, and none of us have been to prison. So that tells you something there. And they've all raised good families. But I just think it's funny when it comes to how we was raised and things that was done to us or we did to others. It's just interesting how individuals perceive things differently when it comes to that. One thing I used to do as a child, I used to harass my two bigger brothers and my bigger sister and my little sister. Five of us when I was growing up was at home most of the time. Six, I remember, but then five. And I was a lot last one left at home. But we do things, and parents do things differently. They're not necessarily wrong. It's just different. Every individual has to be treated different too, and that's a big thing there. You know, if I had exactly the same, maybe as one of my other siblings, maybe it wouldn't work. One of the worst things I hated when I ended up getting spanked, we had these shoes that inside was just a foam for the winter, Dad'd get mad and swap your butt with one of them. And think about it. It's foam. It's not going to hurt. But boy, your feelings were hurt. They were hurt bad. And other things we all do. And we all do stupid things as childs, but we should be learn from that and grow. Sometimes that don't happen. Sometimes we don't learn, and that's part of the problem that starts. Another thing I was going to kind of catch on here is the fact that what does hate really is? Why do people hate? We're in a situation where hate becomes our life, and it really does. Some people say hate is because the child was raised wrong and they grew up and they hated. They weren't paid attention to. They were not treated right. These may not be 100% wrong, but they could very well be partially true. But regardless, you have to decide when you grow up what you're going to do. But if you're going to be a hateful person in life, you're going to be a hateful person. And there was a guy on here, I guess. I didn't hear him, so I don't know exactly what he said. But it come out that he said, "Well, uh, we, I was treated bad. My parents made me go out and do stuff." Now, this comes from a guy that has a lot of viewers. He made me work. What in the hell's he thinking of? I grew up on a ranch. In grade school, I was out doing stuff. We had these hay bales that was the guy that owned the place had to have them over 100 pounds. Two wired bells. When I first started putting them up around the feeding troughs where they feed the cattle, I would have to roll them. I couldn't pick them up. I couldn't hardly drag them. We had hay hooks too. Eventually I did, but I was doing that. I wasn't sitting around crying because somebody hadn't told me I had to go do something. I had plenty of free time, but work was work and you did it. So I started young. Anybody that works on a ranch will realize it and realize that that's a true statement there. Now I look at and I'd love to grow up, had a ranch and that. No doubt. I wouldn't now, obviously, but it's amazing the progress they have made since when I grew up. And I lived out in the middle of nowhere. It was a 50-mile bus ride for junior high and high school, one way. Not a lie. That's the truth. But we all have perspectives on when we grew up. And I ain't going to say they're wrong or right or anything in between because everybody's different. I grew up around interesting people, a very small community, but we all knew each other. Um, I still find people that, to this day I haven't seen in years will pop up, but that's just how we are growing up. It's fun growing up, even if it's not. We got to do it. I'm going to talk about a lot of things. I hope I don't put you asleep if you jump in here, but it's interesting our lives we have led. Some things have been good, some bad. I'm no different than anybody else. I grew up realizing I was not better than anybody. I did things better and I did things the right way, That's one thing. But I guarantee you 100% I'm not better than anybody. The things I do may be better than some, but I'm not going to sit here and say how great I am because I'm not. I'm not a great, I'm a good person. I do what I need to do and I go forward. But I'm not this great person that thinks he's better than anybody else because I just not. I've never thought of myself that way and I never will. It's interesting what some people do think in life. They think they're so much better than everybody else, and they're really not. They come in and they come and go. They do as many do, and it's just part of what we do in life, I guess. How many have ever been around a person that was kind of two faced too? I've done that. Here's something on here, and why sometimes you have to really think of what you're doing. I've come on here, and I'm on here for fun, okay? That's just how it is. But I come on here, and although I've been posting just a little over a year, I've been on here several years. But I got interested when I started posting, and a few people that, and I'll tell you right now, I was wrong about them. They come across to me the wrong way, mainly because I was listening to one narrative. But when I listened to both narratives, it was different. Things didn't start to add up. And I admit I was wrong to start with on this. No, like I said earlier, nobody's perfect. We all do our own thing. But we have to admit when we was wrong. And I was wrong on this, at least on what was going on. People have to live, people have to exist, but they have to do more than just exist. And these people are doing that, and somebody else is coming in and trying to make them out to be wrong. And it is sad that people are willing to do that. These are people that hate people and hate themselves. These are the type of people that do this on a constant basis. We're on here for fun, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I try to be a more of a positive person. And like I said, I'm jumping around because that's what kind of day it's going to be. I really do. I try to come off more positive, and I am one that wants to give everybody a benefit of the doubt. And I'll 100% tell you right now, because of that, I've been gotten taken advantage of before and probably will in the future. But I have to have dignity in human beings. I can't just put them aside and think of something bad about them. I am not going to do that for nobody. Yes, I'm going to get taken advantage of at times, but oh well. Most generally, that won't happen. And I think sometimes when we get taken advantage of, we become negative and don't want to go down that road. And we really don't make it right, but we have to stop and reassess what we are doing. And we need to do this on a daily basis. Everybody knows good people from bad people. Sometimes a bad person, we try to convince ourselves they're not that bad. And when you have a hard time making anybody bad, and that's me, uh, they are bad, and I try to make them out to be good. I've done that, and I've seen somebody bad, like I said earlier, and, and it wasn't the case. but at least I have the guts to admit that I was wrong. Nobody in this world is perfect. Nobody should ever think they are perfect. And I hope everybody realizes we all need to improve. Not a one of us can sit here and say we don't need to improve because we all do. We come in here thinking we're these great people in our minds, and we have to learn and progress. I don't care if we're 1 year old or 90-year old, we all have to learn and progress. This is one thing I am on here for is to progress. It isn't about money, it's the next step. Because if I'm going to earn money on here, well, in a year I might have coffee money. That'd be about it. But I'm not here, like I said earlier, to gloat that I'm a wonderful person. Because believe me, I'm not. I mean, I don't do bad things, but I ain't this person that's number one. I'm not this person at the bottom. I'm just kind of in between guy that loves to do certain things. And growing up, I'm going back to that on a ranch. It was great, you know. And now the sheep part, he had a band of sheep. I didn't like that, but had to work with them anyway. But it was so great growing up. Our ranch wasn't even close to anybody else's. I mean, miles wise, anyway. We sat 3 miles off the road to last place before I graduated, and about a mile and a half from the mountains. It would go out, and in the wintertime, going to school, I'd go out and hunt jackrabbits all day. Guides supplied me with 22 shells because it was really bad for the jackrabbits out there. And I'd shoot them and leave them, and the birds and the coyotes would all get the carcasses and eat it. Not that that was my plan, but that's reality is what it amounted to. It's kind of funny the things we like as a kid. And what I'm getting at about that, we had lots of snow and it was cold. It did not bother me a bit as a kid to go out, play in it, do whatever. Now I see it snow or even get cold. I'm so miserable over that. You know, it's just something we don't think about really. When we're a kid, we're invincible in our minds. We're not, but in our minds, we're invincible. Eventually, we get older, we find out that we're not. That's when some of the hate starts to come in. Not hating other people, hating things we have to do. See, if I lived in an ideal world, come wintertime, I wouldn't live in Idaho. Not that I hate Idaho, I love Idaho. It's just winter wise, I don't want to go through it if I didn't have to. But I'm obligated here, and I'm not afraid to be here because I love it. It's just I do something different. That's another thing. It's another step in life, and that's what we have to do is do all these steps and keep going. And I said this the other day. I don't care how old I am. I need to improve and move forward. This is exactly what we need to do. We don't need to take a back seat. We need to move forward. And when you're older and can realize this, you're a much better off position in that you recognize it. Part of the problem, and I'll admit, when you get older, you get set more in your ways and you don't want to do something that's going to make you grow because you're older. And I find I used to laugh at people like that. And I find myself in that same situation now at times. That's like I'll go to coffee. There's about three places I park automatically. I don't even think about it. I park there. And when I get through coffee and go out the door, if I had to park somewhere else, I still head for them spots because I'm a creature of habit. Never used to do that, but the older I am doing that more. And that can bring up another thing I'm going to do a short on, I guess, is people older should get more involved in this stuff. I mean, when I do my analytics, go look at them. I got 18 on, but more people older need to get on here. We get criticized more, made fun of more, but we should be on here more often and more come in because this is something that is good. If you're retired and don't have a lot to do, I have a lot to do around the house, but I can come in here, sit down, enjoy myself, have something to do. This gives me something to do. And, and it's another out. And some people, when you get older, should take that out. Don't have to be on here, but some platform like this, you only can you only want to be on a few minutes. You're only on a few minutes. I'm generally do shorts, so I'm on shorts a whole lot more than I am on anything else. And older is not a bad thing. Older is a good thing. I know we all get disgusted with old people. And it's funny, when you're younger, you don't know any better, but when you get to be a young adult, you should realize that being old is not a bad thing. Being old don't mean you're stupid. Being old means you survived. And I have survived. And I love the people around me a lot. I love my family. I've met some really, really interesting people on here and have enjoyed them. And I 100% guarantee you, may never ever see them, but I bet you most of them are younger than me that I talk to. There's a couple older, but that's here nor there. But I think this is a good platform for people that are older, even though they have to put up with the crap from some of the younger people, thinking they are not worth anything. And it's sad because I don't care if you're 18 or 99, it don't matter to me. We don't need to put age restrictions on people's feelings or anything else. But we have a tendency to want to do that. And it's a shame we do that. And we could have a lot more fun as a people if we did not do that. The most people I talk on to here, like I said, is younger than me. Couple are older, but I like and love every one of them. That is because they're doing good. I'm doing good. Yeah, some of them get criticized left and right, but that's okay. They have to overcome it. When that happens to me, I have to overcome it because people do get offended because of somebody's age, and it shouldn't be. I don't care if you're 18. I talked to a couple people on here. They call me their YouTube pops or their YouTube dad. I don't care. It's not an insult or anything to me. They want to do it. That's all well and fine. It's not that big a deal. It gives me an ego trip, but I got to quit saying, a bad thing I've always said. We grow up to be good people. We really do. But the problem is some of us go down the wrong road, and that's a shame. And going back to me being naive at times, I always think that bad person can come and be good. Maybe they can, but in my mind, they can. That don't mean when they're bad, I won't stick up for them at all. I just think they have another path they can go down and achieve if they so desired to. And we need to get back into that. It's much more fun. I just had to check my mic. It is so much more fun when you're out having fun. You know, we can start pointing finger at people, but that's all well and good. But we shouldn't, but we do. You know, I've been around some bad people. I really have. I've been around some good people. I've worked with some really, really good people. I've worked with some that's not so good. For whatever reason, they're where they're at. That's like Lori Vallow DeVal, Bell, or whatever you want to call her. Probably about, and then her kids, where they found her kids, was on their property. I'd say, depending on how fast you're driving, an hour to less than an hour from here to their home. And the police did a great, great job in taking care of that problem. It's sad that people do that, but that's what they do. Unfortunately, I'm sickened because of what happened there. I still am, and I don't know any of them. I could have run into them in a store or seen them in a store. I don't know. We often do that with people, but I'm so glad that she's behind bars and where she should be. Another person, now this person I can't, I've seen him, I've seen him after he got out of prison, but I couldn't tell you that we ever had a conversation. This was a guy that went to prison for around 20 years for something he did not do. And I used to do fire extinguishers with the guy that give the exam or the lie detector test to. He was 100% for sure he was guilty. Then later, well, a few years ago, the DNA said no, no, it was somebody else, and they got him. Now, I can't say anything about this person that did it or this tap guy. Well, he's a kid at the time. I knew some of the people he hung around said he had a problem. Well, later on, and you can look him up, a guy, and he was from here. The guy name was Christopher Tapp, and he went to Vegas, and an ex pro wrestler unalived him for supposedly trying to give somebody something that they shouldn't have. So it's a true story. That's sad all the way around. Things like that, you really look around you, these things do happen. There's people out there that it happens to all the time. And it's just not right it happens, but it go and keep happening. The thing of it is, I guess I'm trying to tell you is you don't have to participate in it. There's no way you need to participate in something like that because all of us fall for it to a point. None of us go that far as what happened, but it can if we let it. I'm so grateful for the people, even on here. We've all had bad things happen or been around bad things. And like I said, the ball, whatever you want to call her, Lori DeBale, and this other guy knew neither one of them. I do know people that said that they've heard about that group they were in, which was a sick and disgusting group. And supposedly it still exists today here. You know, that you get to see things like this happen. If they're happening way, way away, you really don't think about it. But when they come close to you, you start to think about it. I've, I've seen people that been close, not family, but close, that have done things they shouldn't have done. And one in particular, he's currently in prison for what he did to a couple of kids. Yeah, they were related to me and are, but hopefully he never gets out of jail. But tragic happens to all of us, and if we just sit down, look, and see why and how, you cannot 99 or cannot stop tragically from happening to you all the time. Sometimes you can avoid it, but that's about it. Now, all of you are interesting people on here. Believe me, I know most of you listen. I get a pretty good audience after I'm off alive because it's interesting and people, I don't have a set time or nothing else. I just get in on here and do this. I got another guy that's going to try to teach me the OBS system and do a couple of things with that. And I'm going to enjoy that when that happens. I'm not tech savvy, so I need help. I need help bad. I want to improve, not for the money, because I'm not going to make hardly anything. I did monetize. The main reason it was another step to go forward in my life. But one step I got to do is correct and improve what I do here. No, I'm not rich and I don't have any money to do stuff like this. I'm not broke, but what I have don't allow me. So I have to work around certain things. And I am. And I'm thankful that people realize this and they're very, very nice to me. And I appreciate that. I'm a boring person, but that's okay. And maybe I'll start doing more of this stuff. But my main reason on here is to do shorts, which means no money, but a lot of people listen. I get the ones subscribe 85, it does it every 48 hours. 85, or I should say 84% to 86% people watch. And of them, by far 80 some percent of them are off my shorts, not something like this. It's going to take me a while to get things going, but I will get it going and improve. But time will tell, and it takes time. But I will get there. In other words, I'm not taking my living money to do anything, so I'll have to do this. and like this. I know I'm boring and not very professional here, but that's fine. That's just how it has to be. And I'm going to get better and improve on things and get more research done that I need to do. And that's one thing I do listen. I go on here, other channels, even ones I don't like. I go on to see what they're saying, to see what other people are doing. Then I decide by what people are putting out, because sometimes when you do that, one side's just spewing out of their mouth, and the other side is actually showing. And that is a good thing. Then you have the evidence there by documentation, and where the others are spewing just to spew. And I'm not saying they're always wrong. It's just when you have documentation, that proves it. And I like that. And I do. I sit back and listen to people like that. Some on here, all on here, but I've seen other sites you go to and listen, and you do the same thing because when you really listen to the people, you're more apt to make a good judgment on them by listening to the whole thing than just one side. Because when you do that, you know, you know when you start to see stuff, who is right and who is wrong. And this is a good thing, not a bad thing. But we all can learn by listening. Eventually, if you have a narcissist or a bully on here that's convincing you doing something, if you sit back, look at the overall all picture, you might have a different perspective on it. Well, I'm going to let y'all go. I just was on here for a few. Thank y'all.